So let's get right down to it. Is DK Metcalf holding out on the Seahawks, best you can tell?
Yeah, I mean, I think like this is sort of indicative of the way this is going across the league and has gone across the league. And if you notice, Rich, a lot more players are grousing about their contracts in the spring than we used to see. And the reason why is because it's very, very difficult now to stage a holdout in the summer. And so in a lot of cases, if you wait till the end of July, it's too late because the rules in the new CBA are so restrictive and so punitive. I mean, if you don't show up for the first day of training camp, like you lose the year towards free agency. So if DK Metcalf held a one-day holdout in training camp, then he would not be an unrestricted free agent next year. And so, you know, for a lot of these guys, you know, it's sort of the spring is the time to make your point. And, you know, in the case of a player like DK Metcalf, given what's happened with the receiver market, you know, you can certainly see where maybe, you know, making a $100,000 investment, which is what it would be to miss all 3 days of minicamp, in making a statement about what you want and what you're looking for from the team when, you know, other receivers across the league are getting paid $23, $24, $25 million a year. You can see where that might be worth it, you know, if you're kind of doing the calculus in your head.
So then why wouldn't Seattle pay him? What's the you know what I mean? I know it's easy for us to say pay the man. You got Deebo Samuel up there in San Francisco. These things take time. I understand, but I'm kind of mystified because with Deebo, it's kind of straight up, right? Where he is such an important part of this team that can win the Super Bowl right now. And that's why a lot of people think Trey Lance shouldn't be the quarterback because he's not, quote unquote, ready for that. But at least you understand that this is a team that's not being retooled, remade. They didn't just trade away their Super Bowl winning franchise quarterback of the last decade, who is a pillar of the franchise. DK could be an indication of where Seattle's going, right, with their roster and their plans and long-term plans and things like that. So what is the crux of all of it?
Well, they want to keep him. You know, and look, like Rich, like I think if they had wanted to move him, if they had said, like, okay, like we are really tearing this thing down to the studs and we're going to start over, they would have traded him by now. It doesn't mean that they can't still turn around and decide to do that in a month or two. But, you know, if that was the plan from the start, the time to do it would have been when teams had their draft picks, when all the cap space across the league was available to extend him if other teams wanted to bring him in and extend him. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if the Seahawks plan from the start had been like, let's blow this thing up and start over, and we can't afford to pay a receiver $25 million a year, well, you know, the time to do that would have been in March. And John Schneider, you know, has been doing this for long enough, knows better than you and I, that, you know, like it wouldn't have been worth it to wait on a number of different fronts. I think this is just a matter of the receiver market changing and, you know, kind of, you know, what the Seahawks probably had budgeted for him and now those numbers changing. And I think we've seen, you know, at different positions, of course, how things have changed and how thresholds have been broken. You know, you see it at quarterback with, you know, before this offseason, I think there were 3 quarterbacks making over $40 million a year. That number is now 6. And the same sort of things happened at receiver and on multiple different levels, too. You know, you've got Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, you know, and you know, at the top of the market. And then you look at, you know, the next level, well, Christian Kirk got $18 million, you know, so there's no excuse not to pay a player like this well over $20 million a year. So, you know, I think part of it's like sort of recalibrating where you're at, you know, and recalibrating for where the market is. And I would assume DK's people in Seattle are going to try to work to get something done before the start of training camp. But, you know, you could definitely see where when you look at the numbers, that the amount of money that's going to be that's on the line here, why somebody like DK Metcalf would say it's worth $100,000 investment to make a statement here, make my point, and let the team know where I stand. So I don't have to do it when it could be really damaging to me in the summer.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.